how to mentor and be mentored. This is the outline of this lecture. We look at the introduction, the models of mentoring, the responsibilities of both the mentee and the mentor, characteristics of both successful and unsuccessful mentorship, benefits of mentoring, where to locate a mentor, and challenges with mentoring in resource-poor environments. Mentoring has been my passion. And that was why many years ago, I came up with an idea to write a recipe for successful residency training as a young senior lecturer then, to guide the younger generation on how best to actualize their dreams. At a young age, I wrote what looks like my memoir, but then it was a legacy of my father, titled A Father's Legacy. And TVC News captured this from my book. And what they captured only reinforced the value I place on mentoring. Although one cannot control those who will read the book, I have a target audience. If my story will help to change a few lives and make the younger generation think and act positively, then I consider my job done. When I got a higher position, where I have the opportunity to mold a large number of young generation, I came up with a concept of assigning mentors to all students of College of Medical Sciences in the University of Maiduguri. So the learning objectives for this lecture is for us to know how to make this relationship a win-win situation for both the mentor and the mentee. The relationship between a mentor and a mentee is not like that of a horse and a horse rider. Certainly not. Mentoring is defined as a process of development for one individual which is supportive and positive. Traditionally, it is provided by a more senior colleague who is based in the same profession and is longer time. The definition of mentoring, which I found most interesting, is this that I obtained from a TED talk. It defines mentorship as not something that is done to you, but something you do for yourself with the help of other people. Mentoring is both in skills and character. While skills are taught formally or intentionally, character is not taught intentionally. Character is like hidden curriculum. It's something you learn along the way. My PEC says that great mentors provide a stimulating sanctuary in which people can take a helicopter view of their options. Let's look at this statement by Mike Peck critically. Stimulating sanctuary. So great mentors provide sanctuaries that are stimulating, where people will have a helicopter view of their options. This is one of the famous quotations of Isaac Newton. He said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." What is it all talking about? Mentoring. This is the traditional form of mentoring that many are aware of, where the apprentice follows the master. He or she sees what the master does, and this is how this art is transferred from one generation to the other. This is a traditional concept of mentoring. All these great Greek philosophers were mentored along this tradition. Socrates mentored Plato, Plato mentored Aristotle, and Aristotle mentored Alexander the Great. Today, the concept of mentoring is changing. Now, both the mentee and the mentor need to be trained for a successful relationship in mentoring. A study has shown that if both mentor and mentee are trained, 90% succeed. So, if you train the mentee and the mentor, the relationship will succeed in 90% of cases. But if only mentor is trained, the relationship succeeds in 50%. But if there is no training at all for both mentee and mentor, the relationship fails in 90% of cases. So this brings to fore the importance of training for both the mentor and the mentee to have a successful mentoring relationship. A study found that 76% of participants believe mentorship is important, but only 37% have mentors. To get a good mentor is difficult. It's like looking for a good watermelon. To get one good, you need to make many tries. These are the different types of mentoring. The most popular is this one-on-one mentoring. Of course, with increasing number of mentees, group mentoring is becoming more popular. You also have peer mentoring, where peers can mentor themselves. We did that when we were resident doctors. You can also have near peer mentoring, where a senior registrar mentors a junior registrar. In this day and age of internet, you don't have to meet with someone one-on-one. You can have e-mentoring using online platform. One can also have reverse mentoring. I established a YouTube channel in October 2022. And this was an advice from my resident doctor. So this is a form of reverse mentoring. You can also have speed, or what others call flash mentoring. This is similar to like speed dating, where you meet with so many people within a very short time, ask the necessary questions, and get the information you want to, and take off. You can also actually self-mentor yourself through videos, through lectures, through online materials, and so many others. Mosaic mentoring is when you have the combination of different types of mentoring, and it also has its own advantages, because no one set of mentoring answers all the questions. But when you have a blend of these mentoring models, probably the outcome may be better. This is goal in its raw form. This is goal after processing. So this is the word of the mentee before coming into a relationship with a mentor. So after a successful relationship, the mentee will be worth more than what he or she would have worth without a mentor. Now, what are the pertinent questions for the mentee? What is or are the needs? As a mentee, you should know what your needs are. It's important for the mentee to do a self-assessment and know what skills he or she needs to learn. What habits does the mentee need to reinforce? And what habits does the mentee need to drop? Again, there is the need to have a progress chart or a Gantt chart to track the progress of whatever one is doing. These are some of the ingredients of good mentoring: empathy, being focused, Some of these things are not cast in stone. So there should be some flexibility. You need to empower the mentee. Both the mentor and mentee need to be on the same page. Most importantly, there must be trust in the relationship. Why? Because broken trust is like a melted chocolate. No matter how you try to fix it, it will never return to its original shape. No matter how you try to fix it, it will never return to its original shape. So it's extremely important to maintain trust in this relationship for it to be of benefit to both the mentor and the mentee. What are the responsibilities of the mentee? One, I believe in me. Yes, the mentee needs to believe in himself. I see the mentee like the pilot. The pilot sets the agenda. The pilot decides the direction. The pilot decides on the menu to serve on flight. The pilot decides on what action to implement. The pilot who takes off in good time is more respected. The pilot who gives feedback when there is turbulence or when there are challenges along the way gains more respect from the passengers. So I see the mentee as the pilot, as someone who actually drives the relationship. What about the mentor? What are the responsibilities of the mentor? The mentor is expected to show empathy. The mentor should give constructive challenge. The mentor is expected to be more experienced, so the mentor should share his experience with his mentee. It's extremely important to maintain confidentiality. As I said earlier, mentorship is not like the relationship between a horse and a horse rider. No, it's something that is of mutual benefits. So there needs to be some conviviality in the relationship. The mentor helps the mentee build networks. The mentor must be a very good listener. As a mentor, you must serve as a role model, and you need to teach the mentee the rules of the game. Now, what are the characteristics of successful mentorship? Now, a successful mentor should not stop at giving oxygen to the mentee all year round. Now, if you look at this picture, remember a Chinese proverb says that a picture is worth more than 1,000,000 words. Now, if you look at this picture critically, and if you look at all these points itemized, they are captured in this picture. Reciprocity, you can see that here. Mutual respect, you can see that here. Shared values, similar expectation, personal connection, time, face-to-face, encouraging. These are the characteristics of successful mentorship. So what are the characteristics of unsuccessful mentorship? A broken bridge, no connection. Here, there's no communication. So there's poor communication, lack of commitment, conflict of interest. Remember, when neither the mentee or the mentor is trained, 90% of this relationship fails. Personal differences, perceived of real competition. When a mentee requests for favor, for example, money, it puts off a good number of mentors, and that is one of the characteristics of unsuccessful mentorship. The most important ingredient that keeps this relationship working is the chemistry between the mentor and the mentee. And therefore, if the chemistry isn't working, this is not a marriage. If it's not working, just quit. What are the benefits of mentoring? To the mentee will be more effective. The mentee will learn more skills without paying a dime. The mentee will develop more confidence and therefore make better decisions. The mentee sees things from different perspectives. The mentor will make the mentee look at this from this angle, look at this from this angle, and know that both are right. This guy is looking at this from this perspective, and what he sees is 4. The other person looking at it from a different angle of the prism, and what he sees is 3. So the mentor will make the mentee see this from these different angles. Of course, it's not only the mentee that benefits from the relationship. The mentor also benefits from the relationship as it expands the generational and cultural perspectives. For instance, if I'm mentoring somebody in his 20s, that will expand my generational horizon. If I'm mentoring somebody from a different cultural background, that will also enhance my cultural appreciation of diverse cultures. This will also strengthen the technical, leadership, and interpersonal skills of the mentor. It also brings new ideas and insights to the mentor. Most importantly, this helps the mentor to develop people. Like Eugene Bell said, aspire to inspire before you aspire. To me, this is one of the most powerful quotes regarding mentoring, because mentorship is all about building people. It's about aspiring to inspire before one aspires. But before you benefit from this relationship, you must know the do's for the mentee and the don'ts for the mentor. For the mentee, do the work. You should be the one to set the agenda. As I said, I see the mentee as a pilot. Remember that the mentor has so many responsibilities, and out of his very busy schedule, he decides to give you a time. So please value the time of the mentor. Be faithful. You must be available, and you should be teachable, and endeavor to access mentor's knowledge. The don'ts for the mentor is don't try to fix it. Show the mentee how to fix it. Do not do the work. Show the mentee how to do the work. It is the mentee that sets the agenda, not the mentor. So don't bring your agenda. Please do not rush the mentee. Guide the mentee. And don't focus on the issue alone. Focus on the bigger picture. Now, is it sufficient to have a sole mentor? Variety is the spice of life. No single person knows it all. One mentor may be good at surgery. The other mentor may be good at publications. The third mentor may be good in communication skills. So one mentor is not sufficient. So you need to get more than one mentor and get the strength of each of these mentors. But when you put all this together, you'll be a better mentor in the future. But where do you find a mentor? Quite challenging at times. I enrolled into a program on peer review on Publon. I completed everything, but to get a mentor became a problem. Up to date, I couldn't get a mentor on that platform. So at times it's quite challenging getting mentors. But there are ways you can find. One, enroll in a mentoring program. Why it exists? This doesn't exist in many developing countries. You can check with the human resource units, and you have the list of senior colleagues, or you already know some of your colleagues in your area of specialization. Those you respect, those you adore, those you admire. So you can approach them to serve as your mentor. You can also ask a dependable friend or a colleague. You can use the social media. Today, you can be somewhere in Nigeria and have a mentor in India, a mentor in Malaysia, or a mentor in somewhere else. Do not always look up for a mentor. At times, the mentor is close by. But occasionally, you have to put your magnifying glass to get a good mentor. Challenges of mentoring, immersing in resource poor settings. This is somewhere in Nigeria in the 21st century. Despite this environment, this young lad is smiling. This reminds me of one of the greatest musicians of all times, Fela Kuti, who sang many years ago, Suffering and Smiling. Over 40 years after the debut of this song, we're still suffering and smiling. This also extends to mentoring because we have very few who are trained mentors. And do we really actually understand this process of mentoring in this part of the world? We have so many challenges, extended families to take care of, so many bills to pay. And as a doctor, you lecture students, so you have to publish, otherwise you perish. And you run clinics, you go to the theater. So in spite of all these challenges, you have to create time to mentor the younger ones. Unfortunately, there is no quick return on investment when it comes to mentoring, and the infrastructure is not just available. Unfortunately, in the recent past, there is something that has reared its ugly head in this part of the world. That is primordial sentiments, issues of religion, issues of ethnicity, issues of region, and all that. And that has really, really affected good quality mentorship. People now resolve and go into their religious enclaves to look for mentors, and mentors go into their ethnic cocoons to pick mentees. This way, we end up having mediocre mentoring process. And unfortunately, if this continues this way, true mentorship will die a slow and painful death in this part of the world. These are my sources, and this is the picture of a mentee, now a mentor. Early on in primary school, after primary school, went to Arabic Teachers College, came back to government secondary school Gembu, enrolled into medical school, graduated as a medical doctor, served as a COFA, today a professor of medicine, and now the provost of the College of Medical Sciences, University of Maiduguri. Thank you.